Good evening, everyone. This is Dina, and this is October the 1st, 2018. I had mentioned in my last video that I uploaded earlier this evening that I was going to a group meeting today at my local church, and that it was a group of knitters. These ladies knit and crochet blankets for charity organizations. They make baby blankets for newborns that go to that are premature, and then they make blankets for a group that works with battered women. They had invited me to come because they knew I did needlework, and even though I don't knit or crochet, they wanted me to come join their group today just to visit and see how I liked it. I had a wonderful time. People who work in needle and thread in a needle arts capacity of some kind, we very much are kindred spirits regardless of how we work on them. And I know a lot of you cross stitchers are knitters and crocheters and things of that nature. So they allowed me to bring my cross stitch today and just sit and stitch with them as they were working to wrap up their projects. They only have one more meeting this year, and then they'll stop again until I think it's January. So last we spoke, I showed you my new start that I was taking with me in order to have a small to stitch. And this was it. This is the Alphabet Pumpkin, and it is by JBW Designs. Very small, really cute stitch. And I used a piece of a remnant in my stash of Autumn Fields linen, 32 count, and this is my finish. And if you look closely, you'll see that in the little twig that's coming off the apple, you'll see my initials, my old style of initials buried in the twig. And then as the base of the apple, I put 2018. I just thought that was a cute way to incorporate it into the design, and I have fun doing that. I like hiding my initials in a piece on occasion, just for fun. Now, this was a wonderfully fun stitch, and I thank Katrina Boyd for giving this to us at one of the retreats as our goodie for coming. And so I thoroughly enjoyed stitching it. And I finished it up in, a few hours, a couple of hours to get it started and a couple of hours to finish it off. I mean, you could really do this in a good solid day of stitching. It's a quick stitch. So I encourage you to look it up. Katrina had also gifted us the threads to go with it, and as you can see, she gave us plenty because I had a little bit left over. I've looked at it. It's not enough to do it again. I was hoping to be able to pass it along with the threads, but there really isn't enough. So I think I'm just going to hang on to it and throw it in as a surprise down the road when someone else gets maybe gets a pattern that I'm giving away or passing along. So that worked out well. So I just wanted to share my finish with you and tell you that I had a wonderful time today, and I actually have it scheduled to go back for their very last meeting of the year, and they are promising that they're going to be able to teach me to crochet while I'm there. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I just wanted to wish you happy stitching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hello, everyone. My name is Dina, and welcome back to my channel. I have made a commitment for this year of 2018 to do a sale at the first of every month to work on a series of some sort. And I did the hometown holidays until I finished them, and then I started, right before I finished those, I started working on Little House Needlework series, The Little Sheep Virtues. So today I have a finish to share with you. This is the latest one that I worked on. This is called Courage. And I love this one because of the light purple that's in there. It's very prevalent in the pattern, and I really, really liked it. So if you've watched my prior videos, you know I'm stitching these little sheep virtues on an afghan. And so this is the panel that has Courage on it. And I hope you can see that little white sheep there, so cute. It looks really obvious to the naked eye. I'm not sure if you can see it as well on the camera, but isn't that light purple beautiful on this fabric? Just lovely. Lovely, lovely. So now that is the fourth one that I have finished. They're being laid out, as you can see. There's Courage, Love, and then over here is Peace. So next month I will do the second one for row 2, and then we'll be ready to start row 3 in December. And I'll have to decide if I'm going to double up on these or not and try to finish it during the winter months, because working with all this fabric, there's a lot of fabric here, in my lap, gets really warm. So it is a little bit of a warm project when I work on it. But this one took me 2 full days. I've put in quite a few hours on that in the last couple of days so I could get that finished, because I took a break from beading my Sleeping Beauty, and I also want to get some work done on my Halloween piece, the Halloween tricks. So thank you for letting me share my finish with you, and I'm hoping to make Sleeping Beauty another finish for this month. That would be awesome. I hope you're enjoying your stitching in this month of October. I know a lot of you are doing dark October stitching, but I just have the one Halloween piece I'm working on right now. So in the meantime, until I see you again, happy stitching. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome. This is Sunday, October the 7th, and I'm back to give you an update report on one of the WIPs that I wanted to get a little extra work on this month, Halloween Tricks. This is a Saturday evening post cover, and I just thought it's too cute for words. This is what I've been working on. So my first goal of the month was to work on the second little boy's face and try to get his face done. So here's how I did. He's there. Isn't that awesome? So I'll bring it in a little closer for you so you can see him. I love the expressions on these little boys' faces. They are scared of something. Don't know what, but they really are frightened. But I went ahead and got the little boy, the second little boy, completely done, all the way to the page break. So on this side where the shorter boy is standing, all of that is done to the page break all the way across. And what you see, the open space there, is a pumpkin. And that is my second goal for this month. I'm hoping to pick this up again after I take a little break, because it's so confetti heavy that I'm a little weary and I want to rest from this pattern just a little bit. And so my next time I pick it up this month, I will be concentrating on that pumpkin. And you can see there's the page break in the middle. I would love it if I could get this page break finished all the way to the page by the end of the month. I would love to be able to do that. So that's my next goal, is to finish that pumpkin down at least to the page break, if not the whole pumpkin. So I think that's doing very well. I'm pleased with my progress on this, especially as much confetti as it has in it. And I'm moving right along on doing that. I have been spending some hours working on beading Sleeping Beauty, and I did get an answer to my problem with the beads. Several of you were able to go to websites like the Mirabilia website, and there was an error report that had been filed, or I guess an update of some sort. Anyway, I found out that I needed 3 packets of beads rather than 1. And so I have ordered 3 just to be safe. And if I have extras, then, I'll ship them off to Kate because she's doing the same piece. She might need them for hers. But I'm excited about getting some of that beading done. So I'll probably take a break from stitching a little bit now and do some more beading this afternoon, and then maybe pick up another whip tomorrow and start the week fresh with a new whip, and see if I can get a little progress on the other 3 remaining active or 4 remaining active whips that I have that I'm working on. Still waiting on my roller frame rods to get here so I can put my Flowers of the Holy Night on it. And as soon as they get here, that'll be the next piece I work on because it is a Christmas piece, and I would love to get that started. I have picked out some Christmas ornaments that I would like to try to work on this year. May not get to start those until November or December, but I was doing a little research in my stash, and I have a few of those that I'm interested in working on. So you may see some of those popping in as I have time as well. I hope you're having a great month so far, and I will talk to you again soon. In the meantime, happy stitching. Good morning. I've been asked about my beading technique, and today I'm going to try to show it to you as best I can as I'm beading my Sleeping Beauty. When I attach a bead, I like to attach it the same way that I do a cross stitch, with 2 legs. So I'm coming up in the bottom left-hand corner of my space. I'm going to pick up a bead on my needle, put the needle down through the top right corner of my square that I've created with my little stitches here, and I have a hole there for the bead. Come up through the top left again now to do the second leg of my stitch, back down through the bottom right, and it pulls the bead straight and holds it nice and secure. So I'll do another one for you. Bottom left, pick up a bead, top right, pull my thread through and come back out in that top left corner, just like I'm doing a cross stitch, through the bead and back down. So you'll see that I'm using a blue thread that matches the color of the bead. This is one way to bead with your regular DMC floss single strand. There's another method I've used, and I've used it on this piece quite a bit. There's the 3 beads we've just put on. However, I find it a little frustrating for me as I'm dealing with it, and because it's so hard to see. This is a polyester thread. It's called invisible thread. I don't know if you can even see it once I take it off the spool. It feels a little bit like a sulky sliver or a fishing line, although it is really, really thin. Maybe you can see the indentation in my finger. But I find that it tangles quite easily as you're pulling it through the fabric and trying to attach a bead. it tangles. Now it'll fit through a beading needle eye very easily, even better than my thread does. But I discovered that these little 26s I'm using are so small that they're going through these beads for the most part. Every now and then I will have a bead that will not let the needle through, like a little smaller hole in the bead for some reason. So I'm putting those to the side in my tacky bob, and I'll switch to my beading needle if I need to use those before I'm done. I also discovered that this color that I have in this needle, or this bead rather, that I have, that I'm working in, I am almost finished with the pack of beads that I purchased. I've done beading in this tassel, and I've done beading on this, what looks to be a sheet, and now I'm starting this last one up here. I do not believe this is all I have left. So one packet of these beads will not be enough. Fortunately, I checked my stash, and I have the same color of beads, an entire box, that I must have bought for either this project or another. Anyway, I'm going to have enough. So I will be opening that in a moment and adding to my beads. Thanks for letting me share this with you. I hope it's answered some questions for you. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Wednesday, October the 10th, and I am here to give you an update for my latest whip. I stopped beading on Sleeping Beauty because I ran out of beads. I did both of the colors that I had. Fortunately, I actually had some beads in my stash of one of the colors because I did need just a little bit out of that second pack. But the one that I ran very short on that I had to order has come in, and I got it yesterday. And so I've made myself wait until I finish this rotation before I start finishing the beads on Sleeping Beauty. But I am really hoping that by the end of the weekend, I have a crazy weekend, but by the end of the week, I am hoping to have Sleeping Beauty completely finished. And you can bet if I do, I will film her and put her on here before I close it out for the 2 weeks. So this is what I chose to work on for this rotation. This, as you know, is Nantucket Rose. And I'm actually in a sale with her, with several people that are stitching her. And I saw a new floss tuber recently show this as one of her pieces as well. And I thought, oh, I have that. I'm working on that. So let me show you what I did. My goal this time was to come across and work on her basket that was hanging off of her arm. So this is where she is in total. And then I'll give you a little bit of a close-up and tell you about what I worked on this time. So this is what I worked on, this basket of flowers that it looks like it's spilling out and is next to her skirt. That scalloped edge there is where her white skirt is hanging down. But my goal was to get at least the basket and flowers done. And while I was at it, I went on and finished all the flowers while I was using those confetti heavy stitches, using those different colors. I just kept working my way down one color at a time until I got it all done. And then I said, well, you know what? The side over there are just 2 big blocks of color. One is a green, and then one is a 3371 at the bottom. You can see there where it changes. And I decided that I was going to go ahead and finish that before I stopped stitching on her. So this is where she is now. and I am tickled to death over that. And so now I think I'm just going to start working my way across. The next time I work on her, I'll just start right here and work my way across and see how I come. I may decide to do all of her skirt and everything before I move over and finish it. I don't know. It'll just, depend. But I think this is where I will start on her the next time. So for this month, she's had her stitching. So that is my Nantucket Rose, and I'm really happy to get to share with you that I hit my goal on her. And I'll be starting back tomorrow or later this evening if I get home in time, beading on Sleeping Beauty. So wish me luck to get that done. I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Happy stitching. Bye. Hi, everyone. This is Dina. Today is Friday, October the 12th, and I want to give you an update. I've been beading this beautiful lady right here, Sleeping Beauty by Mirabilia. Trying to get her out of your glare. I think you can see her a little bit there. This is a project I started on May 12th, 2016 as part of my very first Stitch Mania. It was a sal that I started with Kate Freddie from Cowgirl Kate, Paints Aplenty. And we started it together because I wanted on her channel. As you all may know, if you've watched previous videos that I have posted, I have been working to bead this lovely lady. And just after midnight last night, early this morning, I finished her. And I am going to turn the camera around here and let you see her and walk you through the lessons I've learned and just share her with you because I think she's lovely. And I'm going to frame her and put her up in my sewing room where I can see her every day. This has been a long journey getting here. So I'll turn the camera around and share with you my Sleeping Beauty by Mirabilia. Okay, here she is in her entirety. And I will close up a little bit here just to share with you a little more about all these beads on her pillow and on her bed linens and her coverlets. Kind of helped me to determine that those were bedding because they're beaded. Her dress is not beaded. So the beading actually is on her bedclothes more so than on the lady herself, which is kind of interesting. But this is Sleeping Beauty by Mirabilia. She's on a 28 count fabric, a Jobelin, and I'll get a close and the color is Stormy Skies. Well, let's get in a little closer so you can see some of the pretty beads that she has. They're on the top cover there. And the swirls, I mentioned in a prior conversation that I had with you all that I thought those swirls were going to be white. And I think I thought that because they appeared white when I left the openings for them. But I love the blue. Oh, it's kind of a periwinkle color or something. It's got a little purple tint to it. Here is the beading on the pillow. Is that amazing? So intricate. And then also on these bed clothing, there's 2 colors of beads in all of this. So, what did I learn in this pattern? I learned that 1/1 skin is beautiful. It takes time, but it is gorgeous. I don't think her face would look nearly as lovely if I hadn't done it in the 1/1. Also learned to check the website of your pattern designer for any errors, because these beads in here, this bluish bead here, it did not call for any number of packages. It just had no numbers behind the beads. And unfortunately, that wasn't accurate. I went into my fourth pack of these beads 50 strong. It took 50 out of the fourth pack before I was finished. Also, this blue color here that you see in the bedding and the tassel and all of these beads up here, it didn't call but for one pack, and it took 2. So I will put that information down in the description box so that if you are stitching this, you will know which colors of beads that you need 2 packs and which color you need 4. And the Mirabilia website actually said 3. I would caution you to go to 4. I don't think I dropped more than 1 or 2 beads the whole time I was beading. So as far as any kind of loss, that would not account for 50 beads into the 4th packet. And I counted those beads to see how much I really needed that 4th packet. Other than that, everything is the call for colors. So I didn't make any substitutions here. I did her as she was charted. And I am very, very happy. Very happy with this finish. Can't wait to get her framed. Of course, I'll share her with you after she's done. But I just had to tell you about my finish and let you see her complete. Thanks for sharing her with me. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye. Good evening. Welcome back. Today is Sunday, October 14th. It has been a very busy weekend for me. I hope you've had a lot of time to stitch. I had a very wonderful event at our church this weekend. We had a fundraising event that we call the Emporium. And I've mentioned it a couple of times here, but there were 72 vendors there, people who make products of their own, and a few that were distributors of other products that they were selling. But we turned our banquet hall into a shopping mall. It was wonderful. My participation was to sign up volunteers to welcome everybody in the door and sell tickets or collect tickets of people that had already purchased them ahead of time. And also, I had a crew that would go around all through the banquet hall area where all the vendors were set up and offer them a moment to run to the restroom or go grab a bite to eat. And they would sit in their booth and watch their products so that, no product went away when it wasn't supposed to. And then we had volunteers that helped out in what we call the information booth, where we were letting people, know where the restrooms were, where the restaurant was for them to get lunch. We gave out maps of where all the vendors were, and that is where all the volunteers that were working the various locations that I had to recruit for, that's where they checked in. And so we made sure everybody came for their appointed shift and was working in the area that they needed to be in. So we had ticket sellers, we had people roaming, what we called rovers, to help give breaks. We had golf cart drivers, and we had information booth personnel. So all in all, it was about 120 volunteers, and we're fairly new to this church. I didn't know that many people. So I had to do some creative advertising, and and get some help from other people that knew others in the church and encourage them to volunteer. But we made it. It started at 9, well, it opened at 10 on Friday and went till 6 p.m. And then it opened at 10 on Saturday morning and went till 3 Saturday afternoon. And I was there most of that time making sure that all the volunteers showed up. And if somebody was running late, I would fill in for them or shift people around. I just pretty much made sure that the volunteers were taken care of, because there were the other two ladies who were really in charge of this whole thing were busy putting out fires. Somebody's power might not work, or they forgot their extension cord, or something that they needed, a measuring tape or something. It just, everything came up all day long. There were door prizes given out that were donated by all of the vendors there, and I think door prizes were pulled almost every hour. You did not have to be present to win, so that was great. You put your ticket in with your name and information on it, you might win a prize. So it was awesome. It was tiring. I was on my feet a lot. I got to walk a lot, which was great. And I'm so excited that I was a part of it. It was so much fun. All the money raised for the booth rentals, for the ticket sales, for people to come in and shop, and all the bakery items that our ladies in our church made and donated to the bakery that were sold, fresh breads, fresh cakes, homemade cinnamon rolls, and things like that. All of those proceeds are going to be tallied up, and they will all go to the charity that we picked this year. So it was a wonderful thing to be a part of for my new community, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it took up all day Friday and most of the day on Saturday. And then today, Sunday, of course, I sing in my local choir at church, so had that this morning. And then my husband sings in an additional choir. It's the Voices of North Georgia is the name of the choir. And they had their first concert of the season Friday night, and then again today at 3. And I got to go to the one today because I couldn't go Friday night. I was at the Emporium. So I got to go today at 3 and hear their concert, and it was all classical music. A lot of it was in Latin. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. They actually had in the program the translation for the Latin songs, and so I could actually understand what they were singing about. It was wonderful. But the music and the orchestra were great, and it was so nice to get to see my husband singing in a tuxedo. I love it when he dresses up. Anyway, that's been my weekend. But you know me, I got in a little stitching. So, I started yesterday evening when we got out at 3. I came home and rested a little bit. And the way I rest and relax is to stitch. So yesterday evening, I decided, after doing some messaging back and forth with Stephanie from Stitching It, she helped me decide that rather than pick up another whip and just start working on it right away, that I should reward myself for my big finish of Sleeping Beauty, and I should have a new start. So I started thinking, what do I want to work on? And I pulled my basket of kitted projects up. I pulled that out and started looking through it, and then it hit me. I have a stitching retreat that I'm going to be going to in Sevierville, Tennessee, really soon. It's coming up in November. And they have an ornament exchange. So I wasn't going to participate because I just didn't know how I was going to get one done. And I thought, I should do that. I should try it at least. Now what do I want to do? So I spent some time yesterday looking through my patterns, and I found one that I just recently was gifted, and it's a Prairie Schooler. And they even show one of the little squares up here as an ornament. And I thought, this is great. I want to make an ornament out of this pattern. Well, one year when I was at this retreat, the ornament that I wound up with in the exchange had been stitched by Leah, and Leah had stitched the design on both sides. It was one of the Brooks animals, Advent animals. It was the owl, and she had actually stitched it on both sides of the ornament. So no matter how it turned in my tree, you could see the owl. And that impressed me so much that she would take the time to stitch it twice. So that stuck with me, and I thought about that this time because these are fairly small. In fact, they're very small when they're by themselves. So to make them large enough to be an ornament, I had to use an 11 count Aida, and I used white because these are on a kind of creamy white, but I used a stark white because that's what I had. And I looked at these and decided that I wanted to do this one that says Happy Holiday. And I like, not only do I like because it says Happy Holiday, but there's a bit of white space in there that's not stitched behind those lettering in the pattern. And then I thought, what reminds me of Happy Holidays? And you know, I have a son, and he's always had a dog, and so this one jumped off the page at me. Now, the person who gets my ornament may not have a child or a dog, but I'm hoping it'll wind up that it'll still be a Christmassy memory or a Christmassy look for them. So I decided to do one side this and one side this. So it is stitched on both sides, but I didn't have to stitch it twice. I got to stitch two different things. So yesterday I stitched the Happy Holiday one, and I'll show that to you. Let me just take it off my Q-snap so that I'm not showing you both of them at the same time. But I got that one done yesterday. And then today, after we got home from the concert, I decided to get started stitching on the second part. And I am thrilled to let you know I was able to finish them both. So we'll start out. I'll show you the first side. This is going to be the first side of the ornament. Now, I'll tell you a couple of things. One, I wasn't sure how to get really good coverage on 11 count Aida because I've never stitched on it before. So I did some test stitching, and I decided to do the top border of this black band in 4 strands. I did everything else in 3. I looked at the 2, and it just wasn't thick enough. It just didn't cover enough for me. Too much white was showing through. So I went with 3. When I started out, I did 4, and it was so thick that you can't tell the difference, I don't think. But it was so thick, it was really hard to get the needle back through there to do the other X's that go below it. So that helped me decide that I was going to do 3. So I did everything else in 3 strands. So then today, when I came back to this, I did this one. Now, a couple of things. I made some color substitutions on this one. They had called for the same color of green in these darker trees and in this tree for these pants. And I just felt like I wanted to introduce a couple of more colors in there. So I changed the pants color from 520, which is what they call for, DMC 520. And instead I used the DMC 640. And I think they look just great. And then the other thing I did is the little puppy dog was supposed to be 640, this light gray color. But I thought that looked a little more like a wolf. So I changed out the dog for 898, DMC 898. And that's what color I did the dog. And the only other substitution I had to make simply because it called for a 620 gold for the door, and I didn't have a 620 in my set of DMC that's my working set. I had 622, which was a gold anyway, so I just used it. It looked fine with it, so I did okay. Now, interestingly enough, this background was not called to be stitched, but this one was. This one is full coverage. So I went ahead and I stitched it because it's okay to let the words appear to be floating in there, but I don't think it would look as neat if this was blank. I stitched everything first before I did the white, and I decided that it needed to be stitched. However, it's white fabric and I'm stitching with white thread. So I used 2 strands on the snow in the background, and in hopes that that would lay a little bit closer to the fabric and let all the rest of this look a little puffier, because it's 3 and it'll stand off the fabric a little more. So I'm hoping it'll make it look a little more like a dimension in there. And the only other change I made is that when I started the second part of my ornament, which will, these will be the 2 sides of the ornament, I'm going to sew them together. This section right here was 1 row longer than this. So I just added a row of the snow at the bottom and made them the same length so that they will join up better, and they'll just be back to back like this. I will cut them apart, of course, and sew them together, stuff it, make it a pillow ornament, and do some cording or some kind of trim, and I'll get it finished hopefully by the end of the week. I won't have it fully finished for this video because today's the 14th and tomorrow is the 15th, and I have promised to do the random number generator tomorrow for a person to be selected on the Pass the Stash for the Christmas Quaker 2. And I want to get that done tomorrow so y'all can get me your information, whoever wins, and I can get it to you, and it might become a Christmas start for someone. So I want to get that in the mail as soon as I can. So I will cut off the video, won't tape any segment after the gift, where I announce who gets the pattern. So I won't have time to fully finish this. So you'll have to see it next time. But I am thrilled that I was able to get it done. And I hope that whoever receives it will like it. I have no idea who will wind up with it, but I do hope they'll like it. And I enjoyed stitching it, and I may use that same pattern and stitch some more because I think that makes really cute ornaments. So if you have that pattern, you might want to try it yourself. Pick one and do it 2-sided like that. I think it looks really pretty. Okay, well, that is my report for my weekend, my update on my stitching, sort of a family update in there as well. And I just hope all of you are enjoying the month of October. I plan this coming week to get back to my whips. Now that I've had a new start and a finish, I think that'll encourage me and spur me on to work another rotation on my whips. And if I'm lucky enough, I might get to work on 2 or 3 of them before the end of the month. So no telling what I'll be up to. We do have a stitching meetup coming up soon on October 27th. So in my next video, I'll tell you more about that. But in the meantime, happy stitching, everyone. Good night. Hi, everyone. Today is October the 15th, and today is going to be our day to select the winner for the Pass the Stash opportunity for Quaker Christmas 2. So I've set up the random number generator, and I'm going to hit generate here in a second, and announce who the lucky winner will be. I also wanted to mention, because I'll have to stop and turn the camera around to do that. So before I do that, I wanted to mention that I'm going to put some pictures at the end of our fundraising event that we had this weekend. I mentioned it earlier in the video, and I thought you might like to just see a little bit about it. So I'll do the number generator now, announce the winner, and wish you all a happy stitching until we meet again. Hi everyone, this is our random number generator, and I recorded this earlier this afternoon, and right as I hit generate and the number 116 showed up, and I was announcing the winner for your benefit to be number 116 on my list, which is Gloria Fagan. My husband did not know I was recording and came in the room just talking to me. So I've had to, unfortunately, had to get rid of that video. So I just wanted to show you, this is the random number generator with the 116. I haven't touched it since then. So trust me on that one. And I will send Gloria a message on her message on the video and let her know to watch this one and get her mailing address. So congratulations, Gloria. I'm really excited about you being the winner.